Good evening, fellow collectors. January 10th, 2011. Today we're going to expose two more sellers on eBay. Giannetta's Authentics and Sports Nation Autos. And like I always say, eBay autograph buyers are not the sharpest tools in the shed. 80% of the people who buy and sell autographs on eBay don't have a clue as to what they're doing, don't know anything about autographs, don't do any research, have absolutely no common sense. And if you're a buyer of some of the stuff that I exposed tonight, I want you to comment under the video here and tell us what convinced you to buy this crap. You know, you buyers, once you get exposed to buying this crap, you come after me for exposing this crap, but you never go after the sellers because you gave them money for a forgery. Number one, eBay does not filter out forgeries. Since eBay's inception, they've made tens of millions of dollars from the sales of forgeries. Autograph fraud is rampant on eBay because you dopey buyers believe everything you read. Absolutely no common sense. eBay is a haven for people who sell forgeries because they know there are tens of thousands of suckers on eBay who will buy autographs because they have no common sense, they don't do any research, and they have no knowledge of autographs. The main one, of course, is lack of common sense. I'm going to talk as we go along here, and hopefully you will see a common denominator as I progress through this video. First, let's look at this Michael Jordan forgery on a jersey. The bad M is a dead giveaway. This autograph's got no fluidity. And it's item number 2207-1407-3379. Some wannabe collector spent $355 on that piece of crap. I want to know why this buyer didn't just spend a couple $100 more and buy an Upper Deck Authenticated, who Jordan has a contract with, to buy a legitimate 100% autographed jersey instead of buying crap like that. I really want to know. I want to know from you buyers why you buy this stuff. Now, this one here cracked me up when I first saw it. Again, from another Michael Jordan forgery on a baseball from seller Giannetta's Authentics. Item number 2207-1405-3405. Now, I want you to look at something. This is a waste of $61. Look at the forgery on the baseball of Michael Jordan. Look at the M. Then look at the signature on that bogus COA. The same person who signed the COA did the forgery of the Michael Jordan on the baseball. Look at them two. That's so obvious, it's ridiculous. You know, this is why the hobby is such a mess these days with forgeries, because of you buyers. You buyers have helped to ruin the hobby. People who own legitimate autographed collections, if they ever want to sell them, they will never get a decent price because of the fact that these forgeries are just all over the place and eBay is rampant with this stuff. And you buyers are half the you wannabe collectors, real autograph collectors like myself, who are knowledgeable, don't give this stuff a second look. Now, another Michael Jordan forgery on a baseball. This one's from Sports Nation Autos, and maybe now you can begin to see the common denominator between these two seller IDs. Item number 1106-3247-4628. Now, the one thing you want to do. Now, I did have a couple friends of mine email this seller, Giannetta's Authentics, and ask him some questions. He claims he has representatives all over the country that hawk all of these athletes and get their signatures. All from major athletes: Peyton Manning, Eli Manning, Ben Roethlisberger, Tom Brady, Michael Jordan, Kobe Bryant, Clay Matthews, Cam Newton from Auburn, etc., etc. What makes you think, if you're a buyer, why this seller has access to these athletes and you don't? Think about that. What makes this seller so special? Let's look at the numbers. All right? If he's got to pay these people to go after these autographs from all these major athletes, he's got to pay them something. Maybe lodging, maybe tickets, maybe airfare, maybe car rentals, food money, whatever. It doesn't add up. The numbers do not add up. You know why? These sellers do this stuff from their kitchen table. This seller also claimed, and this is one of them right here, that Brett Favre has gotten to know him because of the fact that he's run into him so much signing autographs. He claims he's gotten over a dozen autographs from Brett Favre alone. Let me tell you something about Brett Favre. The most difficult signer in the world, and I'll tell you why. Brett Favre likes to make money from his website, from his autographs of footballs, helmets, and jerseys. You think he really signed a dozen items for this seller? Absolutely not. And I hope this Brett Favre is a bad forgery. Look at that B. The B is a dead giveaway. Item number 2207-1987-8396. Does this buyer really think they got a Brett Favre autographed jersey for $132.50? Absolutely not. And I dare and challenge any of you buyers to prove me wrong. Again, another Brett Favre forgery with that bad B. This one is from seller Sports Nation Autos. Same exact B. See the common denominator yet? Item number 110632474087. A dozen Brett Favre autographs on various items from both of these seller IDs. Think about it. Can you recognize what that autograph is supposed to be? It's supposed to be Peyton Manning. It's an ugly forgery. Item number 2207-2100-1509, and I challenge any of you to send this stuff to PSA or JSA, and it will definitely be rejected. You know, these sales like this, they boast in their auction description that they will refund your money if you send it out to PSA or JSA and it gets rejected. You know why they do that? Because they know that you buyers who are looking for cheap forgeries anyway aren't going to spend the extra money to get it authenticated. So they can put that in there with no fear of it ever coming back. And they know that. Because they know there are tens of thousands of suckers on eBay who believe everything that is written. Unbelievable. Alright, let's continue here. Guess what? Another Peyton Manning. Another one you can't recognize. Peyton just doesn't sign like that. Just doesn't. Item number 1106-3387-4709. And like I said before, I want you to go back to the seller and have him show you, you buyers, the step-by-step process and the receipts, locations, dates, and everything else as to how they acquired all of these autographs. I want you to do that. You know, you buyers always get defensive against me when I expose this stuff, but you never go after the sellers who sell you this crap. I want you for once to show some gonads and go after the seller. Go ahead. I dare you. And I dare you to prove me wrong also. Alright, another one from Janetta's Authentics. This horrible, with that bad B, Brett Favre forgery. Item number 2207-1337-1609. From one of the most difficult autographs to obtain, Brett Favre, who makes a ton of money selling autographs on his website. Helmets, footballs, jerseys, photos, etc. It's unbelievable that you buyers over the last probably 12 years have simply ruined the hobby because you continue to keep sellers like this in business. Alright, what do we got here? Guess what we got here? This is from seller Sports Nation Autos. Another Brett Favre signed jersey. Item number 1106-3442-4941 with that really, really bad B in the Brett. Dead giveaway. And it's amazing that this seller has all these inscriptions. You know why these forgeries are so obvious? When you sign your own name, you don't even think about it. It's a steady, natural, fluid flow. When these sellers do these forgeries, and 99.99% of them are just horrible forgers, you're not confident when you sign something. So you stop, you stutter, you leave dark lines. blotches, things like that. And what happens, they can't correct themselves, so when they do a forgery, they got to continue on, or else they got to throw that item away, whether it be a helmet, a jersey, or a football. They got one try, so they practice a lot on paper, but it's a lot different from paper to an item like a football jersey or a helmet. And that's where you see the forgers' mistakes come out, and they're obvious, especially the stopping and the starting. Even though it is different signing a piece of paper or a photo as opposed to a helmet or a football or a jersey, like Brett Favre or anybody who signs an item like that, there won't be any stoppages. There won't be any stuttering. There will be a fluid motion, period. And that's why this forgery is so obvious to start. I'm going to show you here, Buster Posey. Some wannabe collectors spent $152.50 on this Buster Posey, San Francisco Giant, on a jersey. Item number 2207-1306-1763. You know what's obvious about this forgery? It's slowly drawn. It looks like a 5-year-old did it. Now, I've seen Buster's autograph on a card similar to that, but it's a nice, steady, fluid autograph. This is slowly drawn like it was done with a crayon almost. That's how slowly drawn it is. This buyer cannot call himself an autograph collector. These are wannabe collectors, and if you feel insulted by that, I don't care, because you insult us by buying this crap and diluting the hobby with these forgeries. You know what happens? Eventually, this stuff gets sold and resold, and it dilutes the hobby even more. It's pathetic, it's sickening, and that's why I do these videos. I've been doing them now for 2.5 years. Another Buster Posey. Now the previous one was from seller Janetta's Authentics. This one's from Sports Nation Autos, and it's the same slowly drawn Buster Posey. 1106-3387-4919. Hey, guess what? And an inscription. Unbelievable, the inscription. I think that's what attracts these dopey buyers to buy this stuff, like it's something special. But these forgers sit in their living room or kitchen table, and this is what they do. Unbelievable. Let's look at a Peyton Hillis. This is what you call a slowly drawn forgery. Just poorly, slowly drawn. I don't know what that is. Let's say it was done by a 5-year-old. Item number 1106-3287-2664. Look at that. That's a slowly drawn forgery. Really, really ugly. Excuse me, that was item number 227. Excuse me, 2207-1569-8992. My apologies, but it's still a slowly drawn forgery. I don't do retakes, so whatever comes out of my videos comes out. Now, another Peyton Hills. Now this one, if you look at the auction itself, 1106-3287-2664, this is actually a Peyton Hillis and Colt McCoy. And if you look at the other autograph, you'll be able to see, if you have any common sense or any observation, both autographs were penned by one person. And it makes you wonder, if you have any common sense, which you buyers don't have, evidently, or you wouldn't be buying this stuff, asking the seller where he gets all these, really, if they were good, but really, really poor forgeries from all these major athletes. They do them at home. It's unbelievable. Now, I'm going to show you a real good example of a poorly drawn forgery, because I'm a big Yankee fan. Look at that CC Sabathia. That's what you call done by a 4-year-old. Look at that. That's just pathetic. And somebody spent $151 on this piece of crap. Item number 2207-153-84859. And this same buyer, if you look at the feedback from this seller, Janetta's Authentics, spent $785 on a San Francisco Giants team signed jersey. And he has no idea what he bought. He thinks he bought something because he got a COA. Man, the money people make on the sales of forgeries is totally, it's a $1 billion a year industry, the sales of forgeries. And mainly because of you buyers who keep these sales in business. Whew, unbelievable. Guess what? Another Brett Favre forgery. Just want a photo. 1106-3334-0290 from seller Sports Nation Autos. That same B. And I want somebody to convince me that Janetta's Authentics and Sports Nation Autos are not the same person. Now, Cam Newton. Yes, a forgery from seller Janetta's Authentics on a helmet. Item number 2207-2306-6949. Now, here's the deal. Cam Newton, between these two seller IDs, probably over 10 or 15 Cam Newton autographs. If you look on eBay right now, there is not one Cam Newton PSA authenticated autograph, and only 5 or 6 JSA authenticated autographs. What does that tell me? It tells me that one of two things: Cam Newton does not sign or is not accessible, and yet these two sellers have well over a dozen Cam Newton autographs. So if you're the buyer of these Cam Newton forgeries, ask this seller if they got some kind of contract with Cam Newton of Auburn, of course. I want you to ask the seller that. Where did he get all these Cam Newtons from when on eBay there's no PSA authenticated Cam Newtons, which tells me that he doesn't sign or is not accessible. But somehow Janetta's Authentics and Sports Nation Autos has well over a dozen. Common sense. Let's continue here. That's supposed to be Barry Sanders. Some wannabe collector spent $142.50 on that piece of crap. 2207-1569-9979. This guy is not a Barry Sanders autograph collector, or else he would have stopped and looked away from this piece of crap. First of all, the B is all wrong. And look at the Sanders. You see those dark lines in the middle there? That's where the forger couldn't get it right, and he kept going back and forth over the same lines. And that's what happens when you sign something other than your own name, and if you're a bad forger. Look at that. See what I'm talking about in that Sanders? Those dark lines in there? That's the stopping and the stuttering. And of course, like this guy always does, always includes an inscription to make it look like it's something real. Most athletes, when they do sign, do not include inscriptions. Unbelievable. Another Cam Newton. Like I said, well over a dozen from these two sellers when he doesn't sign for anybody else. And look at that, horrible C. Item number 2207-2306-6496. You buyers are just unbelievable. This is a horrific Joe Montana. That's a bad Joe Montana forgery. The J gives it away. You know, who was forging this stuff? He can't even get the first letter correct in any of these forgeries. Just horrible. And the same buyer who bought the Barry Sanders also purchased this Joe Montana forgery for $127.50. Item number 2207-1565-8358. A couple more. This one's from Janetta's Authentics again. Clay Matthews. Somebody spent $305. Now, there's a seller on eBay. This is item number 2207-1922-3866. The dead giveaway on this is that really, really bad C. Really, really bad C. There's a seller on eBay who actually does have private signings with Clay Matthews. And his minimum price for anything is usually like $2.99, helmet, football, or a jersey. He's got to charge that much because of the fact that he's got to pay Clay. He's probably got to pay for the venue where the signing's taking place, unless he has his own hobby store. He's got to pay for the items to be signed, and he's got to pay himself. So you tell me how these sellers, Janetta's Authentics and Sports Nation Autos, can do all this for most part, paltry amounts and make money. The numbers just aren't there. And like I said before, I want you to go back to the seller and have them show and prove provenance on all these autographs. The step-by-step process, time, location, receipts, everything else. See it. And I dare any of you, I challenge any of you to prove me wrong. One last one. He's selling quite a few Kobe craps, as I call them. This is a Kobe, poor Kobe forgery on a jersey. Item number 2207 2043 4254 from seller Janetta's Authentics. And he's actually sold a couple of Kobe and Lakers team signed jerseys, and I think a basketball, just like he sold the San Francisco Giants team signed jersey, and now he has up a San Francisco Giants team signed helmet. Unbelievable, right? And you people buy this stuff because you have no common sense. I want you buyers to leave a comment under my video and tell us what convinced you to buy these autographs. I want you to tell us why you think these autographs are good. I really want, because you guys always get defensive when I expose this stuff, and you never go back to the seller and ask them any questions. You're afraid of the sellers, but you go after me. For once, I want you to show some gonads and go back to the seller and ask them some questions, because I don't do these videos for 2.5 years without being 100% sure of what I'm doing. I'll talk to you guys.